Welcome to Wanna Bet, the daily gambling game show that takes betting seriously, but not much else. Get our favorite plays on the totals, sides, props, exotics, and futures to jump on now.
So let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Subject som känner konsoldater konsolfelina. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben. Let's get it started with Jason and Ben.
Hey there. Welcome to Wanna Bet. I don't think we're supposed to say Happy New Year very much any longer. So happy betting Saturday. How's that? We appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, we're back in our normal time slot. Again, thank everyone for putting up with us yesterday. I got to tell you about Ben before we go any further. We spent the day at the African American History Museum in D.C. as a family yesterday. My wife had been a couple times before taking classes as students. We live in, about 45, 50 minutes from D.C. There before, and I mean, unbelievable what the Smithsonian has done there. Truly, truly remarkable. I would urge anyone who hasn't been and is within driving distance, if you're planning a trip to D.C., please, please, please carve out. I mean, I'd say you got to give it 2 or 3 hours at least to spend at the African American History Museum. It is, it's heartbreaking. It's sad. It's mind-blowing. It's beyond informative, and it is truth. It is universal truth. And it is still to this day explains so much about the global economy, about who become billionaires and who are raised with so many inherent disadvantages. It explains global inefficiency, global disparity. It explains so much, and it's all right there, and it's a lot of things we already knew. But if you walk through the 4 levels of that building, of that museum, it really just crystallizes so much of what we as global citizens still face, and why some things just are the way they are, or are the way they've always been. So anyway, difficult segue, but I could not urge you strongly enough to carve out half a day and take that walk up those 4 flights of that amazing museum. Okay. It's good to be back, Beltway Ben. We got a bunch of emails lately that we will get to at the end of the show. We're always excited to get winning tickets from you guys and feedback from you guys as we continue to try to make the show better and better. The shot clock is coming. I think we're going to start it around a minute, maybe 90 seconds, but our friends at Odyssey are going to help us with that soon. So we're looking forward to that. Should streamline the show some more. And Beltway Ben, we're going to have to discuss overtime soon, because we're running out of NFL games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know if we start going back to some of our old
different
we'll do that. Topic bars that we had for overtime, Trender Bend.
Dog of the day.
Gosh, I'm forgetting some of them.
Dog of the day.
Dog of the day. I got Dan Campbell around here somewhere.
Dan
Goofy
Campbell
Adam Gase
gone.
for the real OGs. So
Dan Campbell
overtime might
it.
not just be an NFL parlay a day or a soccer parlay a day. We're gonna have to rethink it. If you're new to the show, there's our PTI stolen rundown. We're going to give you our very best bets of this moment. And yeah, 4th down, some of those could get weird. Some of those are long-term bets, or like long reception, longest run bets. Some of those are 4th and short. They get you paid in the first quarter of games, so you don't have to sit all the way through. And as I said, overtime for now remains football or football parlays every single day. Anything that you would like to add, Beltway Ben? Oh, the ticket. I guess the ticket's back.
Yeah, the ticket is back.
Look, I got destroyed in the Premiership over the weekend. There were 4 Premiership games. We were on 3 of them. There were no goals scored in any of those matches. That'll do it to you. Last night, Maryland missed 33 pointers. I mean, Maryland's offensive performance last night was diabolical. They shot like 33% from the floor. The Suns cashed easy. The Leeds matches for Sunday. We split last night. Navy cashed easy. Really, where we got killed was Thursday. Yesterday, we treaded water. I do want to say the Loyola Marymount play, if you guys were on that with me. But wait, Ben, I believe in this phenomenon. Maybe it's just me. Loyola Marymount's on the road. They score 13 of the first 15 baskets or points in that game. It's 13-2. Early timeout from Washington State. I'm watching that game, and I'm like, if this does not get to 20, I think I'm going to lose this bet. If the one kid on Washington State who can hit threes comes out of this timeout and he hits a three, and then he hits another three before the next timeout, I'm going to lose this game if they don't push this lead up to 20 at some point in time before the half. Make a long story short, LMU ends up down 4 at the half. They get it to 2 very late. They lose basically in the dying seconds. But I watch high school games. I could walk into a game I know nothing about. And I feel like whenever a team, especially at home, is getting blitzed like that, if that lead is not built up further and much closer from like that 12 range to 20 quickly, I tend to fear there's going to be a run from that home team. And they're not only going to cover, they might win. Am I crazy?
No, it's funny you say that. I always talk to my friends, and this isn't exactly the same, but in college basketball, a lot of times I tell my friends as a home team, when we have somebody in college, I'd prefer them to be down 3 to 5 points at halftime. And it sounds crazy, but it's just really weird how it goes. Teams are down, and basketball is a game of runs, but especially at home, when you can go on one of those runs in the second half to start the second half. And I know you're talking about later in the first half after the start, but
yeah,
a lot of times, and it's like the mind game of you see your team go up and everybody thinks, all right, there we go. We're in a really good spot. Never, especially in college basketball, never feel good until there's about 5 minutes left. I mean, specifically, Quinnipiac, they were up 18 with 17 minutes left in the second half. I'm like checking them off. Yeah, they end up losing that game disgustingly. College basketball just really, and I know you were talking about other high school games and stuff like that. I think the NBA is a little bit more set with teams tanking and when they're down 20, being fine punting. But in college basketball, there's so many runs, especially when these teams start feeding off of the student section, the opposing team knocks down a few shots, and all of a sudden they're back in the game and the momentum swings. But yeah, college basketball, being down early is never an awful thing.
I knew when they didn't get that thing to 20, and then it's down to 6, and now I'm like, they're probably going to be not even leading at the half, which is what happened. I just think the road team starting feeling it. They start shooting too many threes. It's too many wasted possessions. And if those teams are truly even, and remember, this is basically a pick'em game. Marymount was getting a point and a half, got up to 2 on the road. But if you're out there and you took the points with Loyola Marymount and you got 2, God bless you. All right. But wait, Ben, how was the rest of your night? Looks like it was pretty damn good.
Yeah, finished profitable last night. Castle and Bridges both go over their number. And Bridges was cooked. He was dead in the water. I'm like, oh, this one's done. He had 6 points at halftime. Still had 6 with like 2 minutes left in the third. Gets a few buckets, gets it to 10 in the fourth. And I'm like, somehow hit a 3 and get a bucket. He gets a bucket, knocks down a 3 with about 1:45 left, knocks down another 3. So it wasn't even as close to his number as it was just with 2 minutes left in the game. Was glad that one cashed. Stephon Castle came out. They early on, there wasn't a ton of scoring, but he had the majority of their points in the first half. Slow second half, but scored us the 19 that we needed. So outside of the Quinnipiac, I don't even get me started. Watching that game, I had the money line and a few parlays. I was pretty frustrated with that one. But outside of that game, we finished profitable.
Excellent. Phoenix Suns have been a covering machine at home, folks. We're going to go back to that well. All right, let's get it started for today. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Now we get to the appetizers over. It's time for the main course, Beltway Ben. I've got 3 college basketball plays here that I will run through on first down. We'll start with Howard laying 9.5 against South Carolina State. We faded South Carolina State a lot on this show. I think they're going to have difficulty in the MEAC, and I think Howard is the best team in the MEAC. And I think Howard can go on the road and win this by double digits. I actually think they can win this. If I had to set a personal line on this, I'd be more around minus 12.5, minus 13.5. Look, this Howard team beat UNC Wilmington, the best team in the CAA. They also dispatched of Drexel, who's not a great CAA team, but I think Drexel would be no worse than second in the MEAC, third in the MEAC. They beat a North Carolina A&T team that I think would be third in the MEAC at worst, probably more like second in the MEAC. South Carolina State's outside the top 350 teams in the country in KenPom offensive efficiency and KenPom defensive efficiency. They also allow opponents to have the fastest possessions in college, all of college basketball. It does not take their opponents very long to score a lot of points on them. They also foul like crazy. They send the opposing teams to the line like crazy. And South Carolina State doesn't really have a discernible strength offensively or defensively. I also think they're going to get beat up on the boards here. Look, we'll see. Conference play just starting in the MEAC. I'm testing a theory here, but I think Howard's the best team. I know I jumped to Howard to win the MEAC prop a while back. I think I gave it out on the show. Beltway Ben, you could still get like 2.5 to 1 on them to win the conference. This is a nice spot for them to start out on the road against, again, a South Carolina State team that I just think is bad. SC State's also covered 2 of their last 8 against the spread. We've been fading Gardner-Webb. I think Winthrop's going to run and gun all up and down this court. 21.5 is a big number to cover. I think they're going to do it. Gardner-Webb's losing on average, Beltway Ben, by 18 points a game. They're failing to cover on average by 7 points a game. They are 4-9 against the spread. They lost by 33 to Queens College. They lost by 26 to Wofford. They lost by 33 to Navy. Navy runs an offense where if they beat you by 33, you've got some problems. Winthrop is 9-5 ATS as a home favorite since the start of last season. Winthrop protects the basketball. They don't turn it over. They do the little things right. They're really good on the offensive boards. Gardner-Webb, 344th in KenPom offensive efficiency, 356 in KenPom defensive efficiency. I think that Gardner-Webb's going to get destroyed on the boards here. Gardner-Webb is allowing opponents to shoot 62% from the floor, Beltway Ben, on their 2-point attempts. That's how you lose regularly by 20 points or more a game. Gardner-Webb allowed a D2 team to score 85 on them. I think Winthrop's scoring in the 90s here, folks. So we're going to lay the 21.5 with Winthrop. We also are going to go to the CAA because you knew we would. Let's lay the 6 with Hofstra. We have not talked enough about Hofstra on this show. They're at Drexel. Drexel does not look very good. Hofstra's 11-1 against the spread. Hofstra's won 8 of their last 9. They've covered 8 of their last 9. Hofstra is a top 100 KenPom team in offensive and defensive efficiency. I think they're making noise in the CAA this year. I think they might be the most improved team in the CAA. We could quibble about who they played and who they haven't played, but I can tell you this: Drexel's outside the top 275 in offensive and defensive efficiency. I'm buying what Hofstra's selling. They're scoring a lot. They're scoring at a high pace. They and Elon and William and Mary look like teams that are going to be able to hang 80 or more on people regularly, home or road in the CAA. Drexel's not been covering. I'm buying what I'm seeing from Hofstra. In a CAA that looks like it's going to be more wide open than normal, and Towson's down, and College of Charleston, I think, is down. I think Hofstra can keep it going here. So we'll lay the 6 on the road with Hofstra.
Yeah, I'll stick to college basketball with you. The one college basketball play that we do like for myself on the day. Butler, the Bulldogs on the money line at minus 134. We're attacking Kevin Willard here. That Villanova team has been awesome. But don't look now, Butler's playing really good basketball. And last year was a weird year. They dealt with a lot of injuries. This season, they've played very well. They're coming off of a tough loss to Creighton on the road. Now, Creighton hasn't been good all year long. I get all of that, but Creighton needed a win there. They're not awful. Their roster isn't as bad as some of these legitimately bad teams. They just had some bad luck. They haven't been as good, and they beat Butler. That's fine. Villanova has been on the ropes in 3 straight games. They went to overtime 3 games ago. Last game, they sneak past. And then this past game, like, it wasn't – I thought they were going to lose to DePaul for a good portion, and they were at home. Now you're going on the road in a Big East battle. You've already kind of landed enough shots, and you've been knocked off a little bit. You're due for a big loss. It wouldn't surprise me if Butler stormed them and handled them for the majority of the game. I mean, this game is at Butler. That's pretty big for me in conference play, especially with favorites. When you get favorites like this, people are looking at Villanova's record who don't know much about them, and they want to take them. I get it, but I don't see them playing a good basketball game here. They've gotten lucky in a lot of matchups. Again, they're playing good basketball. They've got just 2 losses, but a bunch of their games have been down tight, down to the wire. I would expect this one here to be in Butler's favor. I just don't know that Kevin Willard's team is as good as we've seen. Even like, as much as I dislike him and everything I think about Villanova, I will say the way that he left and everything, how it happened, it was late. It kind of pushed some transfers away from going there. The guys they have played well, and they were able to get Lewis late in the recruiting process, a 5-star, great player. Bryce Lindsey has been shooting the basketball amazing. But outside of those 2, I just don't buy much they have. Duke Brennan was fine at Grand Canyon, but he's not like an amazing player, and I don't know that all year in Big East play he's going to dominate the way he has. I just think Butler's in a good spot here. I like Manjack, what he's doing. They got a lot of solid players, Kaiser, all of those guys. Give me Butler on the money line here, minus 134. Also, revenge game for Kaiser facing his old coach.
Butler's covered, man. Butler's done a great job against the spread this year. We've played them on the show in several opportunities, and they've low key done the job for us, Butler, Ben. So I like that. Good call. Second down. Let's go to the Premiership. We'll start with back to playing the hits. Arsenal to win to 0 at Bournemouth, plus 162. So Arsenal wins, and they do not concede a goal. Their center back pairing is back. Arsenal is healthier than they've been in a while. And we've said it before, we're at a difficult stretch in the Premiership where you've had games, everybody playing weekend, then midweek, then weekend, then midweek again. And it really favors the teams like Arsenal that have Champions League money coming in, that have massive squad size and squad selection, that have kids playing in their reserves and playing in their under 21s who would be on the bench for Premiership teams in the best of times, let alone right now where you're really being tested. And Bournemouth are being tested. They've sold Semenyo, one of the top 3 striker in the Premiership this season. If you want to look at goals, you want to look at expected goals. They've sold him to Man City. He said peace out after the midweek game. They have trouble scoring with him lately, and now they're going against an Arsenal squad that's playing a bunch of matches that I don't think is going to be out to put on a show here, but can hold the ball. They can be judicious about when they attack, and they can win this game 1-0 or 2-0 without expending a tremendous amount of effort and get on to tougher tasks ahead. Arsenal have kept 4 clean sheets on the road this season. They have allowed just 7 goals in 9 road Premiership matches. It's kind of the men against the boys. How about Bournemouth at home? Remember, we're on Bournemouth overs on the road. At home, it tends to be a rock fight. Bournemouth have scored just 9 times, the Cherries have. 11 times in 9 home matches. That's the 3rd fewest in the Prem. Bournemouth have scored a single goal in their last 3 matches at home. Again, for plus 162. This is a bet we've been on in the past. We got off of it for a little while, but we like it. If you made us pick a correct score, we go back to the 2-0. We think it's going to happen and happen soon. We also like Fulham on the double chance. What does that mean? We like Fulham to win or draw against Liverpool. The only way we lose is if the Liverpoolians win. I don't know. Liverpool at Craven Cottage, I think, could be a tough ask. Like, this is a Liverpool squad that got a draw at Ellen Road at Leeds. They got a lost at Palace. They lost at Brentford. Fulham's 5-1-3 at home. They've been solid at the Cottage. And it's a Liverpool squad that struggles to create chances, that looks disconnected. They still don't have anyone playing right back who looks like he wants to play right back. Up front, it's kind of Ekitike or bust. Like, Verts is still clueless. Gakpo's back on the bench. They don't really know how to use him. everybody wanted to blame Mo Salah for everything going on. He's been in with Egypt for weeks now. Liverpool still don't really defend the way you'd think, and they don't create any sort of attacking chances. They seem content to play negative balls or play passive balls back and forth. Nothing nothing cunning, nothing really insightful. Like, not a lot of through balls. I just don't buy them. There's a reason we faded them not to finish in the top 4. I think they're catching Fulham at the wrong time here. So we think Fulham 1-1. I don't know that Liverpool scoring twice. And look, we also think Fulham can win this match, but the Fulham double -125.
Second down, we'll go to the NFL. Very strong NFL slate today. 2 pretty good games. We're going to play Mike Evans over 54.5 receiving yards -110. Listen, I don't love a lot with the Bucs passing game of late, and especially in this spot when I think they're going to run the ball a bunch. But one area I am going to play is Mike Evans. He's over this in just 2 of the 7 games he's played this year, with one of them him finishing at 51 in a must-win spot. Not even winning get in, because you still got to win and hope that the Saints are able to lose, or the Saints are able to win tomorrow. In a win or possibly get in, you have to expect Baker to go to his guy. I mean, Baker has not been good throwing the football. I get all that. But the targets have still been there for Mike Evans. 7, 9, 12, 4 he got hurt, 8, 11, and 8. And there's been the receptions. The issue is we haven't seen the explosive outside of the Atlanta game when he caught a 45-yard pass down the field. They've taken the targets down the field. Evans hasn't really been there. This is a team that he's had success against in his career. He's faced them a bunch. He's familiar with this situation. It's a home game for the Bucs. Mike Evans has always been very good at home. In this spot, with the playoffs technically on the line, however you want to view it, I would expect Baker, of the passes he throws, to go Mike Evans' way a bunch. And I think one of them might break for 20+. If that's the case, he should go over, like we saw in Houston, like we saw in Atlanta. He's not going to get 12 targets like we saw against Atlanta, but I would expect 8 to 10. And 5 catches should get us there with this one. I would think Mike Evans, if they're able to win this game, has his fingerprint on it. Even if they lose and they're playing from behind, that should mean better for the passing game. So give me Mike Evans over 54.5 receiving yards -110.
Just doing a couple quick checking of some markets here. So I gave out Mike Evans anytime touchdown a few days ago, +150. You can get it at +155 right now at Bet365. And you can get it, let's just see, like DraftKings +155. So I'm on it. I like it. And it's one of those where maybe people know something I don't know, but it's actually gone against us. It's gone for more value. And a lot of times those anytime touchdown markets don't. I think there is scoring in that game, and I think Mike Evans will be a part of it. Half time. Okay, third down. I've got 2 kicking plays in that same game, in that Carolina Tampa game. So let's start with both teams to have a field goal of 33 yards or more, -120. So both the Bucs and the Panthers have to have a field goal made of 33 yards or more, -120. We also like Beltway Bend Tampa to have the longest field goal. So McLaughlin to have the longest field goal in this game, -105. He's 11 of 12 from 50+ Beltway Bend, and he's 6 of 6 from 50+ at home. Fitzgerald has only attempted 4 field goals of 50 yards or more all season, and he's only made 2 of them. Todd Bowles, pretty conservative, doesn't mind having his kicker. Again, try him from deep. He's been hot lately. These games tend to be tight between these two. They played a 23-20 game a couple of weeks ago. We had plenty of field goals in that one. I think we're getting field goals in this one again. The Bucs have made 2 field goals or more in 4 of their last 5 and 5 of their last 7. They've also made 2 field goals in 5 of their last 7 at home. Opposing teams have converted successfully 18 field goals against the Bucs in 7 games played in Tampa this season. Carolina has at least 1 made field goal in 11 of the last 12. Again, we need that field goal to be from 33 or more, but that doesn't take a lot. Why do I like that range as well, Beltway Ben? Well, Carolina is only 25th in red zone success on the road. this season, which means you're not converting touchdowns in the red zone and you're probably taking points. The Bucs are only 23rd in red zone success at home. Again, there were 4 field goals in that 23-20 grudge match rock fight that they just played a couple weeks ago that looked like that might be for the end-all, be-all in the division. So that's where we are. 2 field goal props for the early game in third down.
Third down, I'm going to a play that, I'll be honest with you, I don't usually like attacking in these areas. I mean, the guy has gone over this just 3 games.
I looked long and hard at it.
Yeah, just 3 games. And you're like, why are you playing it here? Because I think Tampa Bay Bucs passing defense isn't there. They're going to be able to stop the run, somewhat bottle that up. And Bryce Young got close last time they played. 191, we're going to need 9 more yards, especially if they're playing from behind. Last game they weren't. They end up winning that one 23-20. Here, I would expect him to throw the football some. I think it could be similar to the Rams game where he threw for 206. I don't know that it's the shootout, the passing shootout at least, that the Atlanta game was where him and Kirk threw for a combined 800 yards or whatever it was. But I do expect both quarterbacks to be fine today. I think the Bucs will dive a little bit more into running the ball where the Panthers aren't going to be able to do that. They're going to have to throw the football. I talked about it last game. Quinn Ewers threw for like 180 against this Bucs defense. Quinn Ewers isn't Bryce Young. I mean, they were going to handle him with kid gloves. They were going to do it how they did. And he still threw for close to 200 passing yards. And now we're getting Bryce Young in year 2. We've seen the growth. They haven't really thrown a lot on his plate yet. But with a chance to go to the playoffs, I just have to imagine their quarterback has the ball in his hands with chances to make plays. The way that they've handled it has been good, right? He's had a lot of success in the throws that he does make, and they've won a lot of games, and they're probably going to the playoffs. But with all that being said, today, I don't know that Tampa Bay is going to let them ride Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard and just let Bryce Young throw for 125 yards and win the game. To win this game, Carolina is going to have to throw for 200-plus passing yards, as most teams have to do to beat Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's in a weird spot. They're somewhat healthier than they've been, and they need multiple things to happen to get in the playoffs. But I'm pretty sure they're going to guarantee, let's stop this run, make Bryce Young through for one for 34 yards, which was one of his longest completions of the year. Give me Bryce Young 200-plus passing yards, minus 115.
Love it. Yeah, I came really close to pulling the trigger on that one. I think the game could get a little loose. I do. Fourth down for me. Let's go 4th and long. I'm going to do 2 long bets in here, and they're kind of interrelated. I think DeMarcus Robinson, Beltway Ben, has a reception of 20 yards or more in this game. If he does, that's plus 250. He's done it 3 straight games. If you look at games this season where he has at least 2 receptions, one of them is for 20 or damn close to 20 in all 7 of those games it's happened in. Also, Beltway Ben, if you look at games in which he's had 2 receptions, he's gone over 15 yards receiving in 6 of those 7 games, which is why we also like Robinson to have 15 or more receiving yards in this game at plus 136. The 20 or over is at 365, and at bet 365, and the best I could find on the 15 yards at plus 136 was at FanDuel. This is a big game player. He's been on playoff teams forever. He doesn't need a ton of target share to make it happen. He just shows up in these games. There's an instance where he's running free on a crosser. He's savvy. He's smart. And the way the San Francisco offense is going right now, you can't cover everybody. Now, Pearsall showed up big. You know that Jennings is the big thing. But Jennings doesn't catch balls till the second half of games. I really don't know why. It seems like it's Robinson in the first half and Jennings in the second half. I just think Purdy likes throwing to him. It's a value play for me on a guy who I think will be good for a couple of the explosives or quasi-explosives in this game. He's not a dude who they're throwing 3-yard screen passes to. You look at his average depth per route in relation to his routes run. And again, he's got the explosive of 20 yards or more in 3 straight games. I think he gets a 4th here. We also like 4th and long isn't a long shot. The Tonjes markets have yet to form. If we get more on this, I will tweet it out because I still think this guy has a day, even with everybody saying that Kittle's coming back. But you can get a Tonjes anytime touchdown at plus 850, and I really like it. We've documented you want to make Seattle look like a mediocre secondary instead of a top 5 secondary. Get into 12 and 13 personnel. Live in that stuff, and McDonald will have some issues. The Dearness Jones, when healthy, can only cover one guy at a time. You could start to maybe pick on his safeties a little bit. The rookie's been great, but this is a big task here. Purdy's in great form. And I know that everybody's just sold that Kittle's back. I don't know, man. That injury looked pretty bad to me. We are on Kittle to have an explosive in this game. But even if Kittle's back, I think they're going to be in 12 personnel quite a bit. They could be in 12 personnel with the fullback still out there, and so it's really 13 personnel. But I don't know that Juszczyk's out there a ton. I think Tonjes is going to get opportunities. If Kittle wasn't playing, this would probably be plus 175 or something like that. And when they get in the red zone, I think they're going to get heavy. Purdy loves throwing to tight ends. He loves throwing to tight ends early in games. He loves throwing to tight ends in goal to go. He loves throwing to tight ends in the red zone. I think there'll be ample opportunity for him to catch a touchdown pass in this game. And at, almost 9-1, I had to get on it.
We're going to head back to a market. We'll stick with a tight end. We're going to head back to a market that we've attacked a bunch through the past 2 days. This one, we're just going to play a long shot. Tommy Tremble, anytime touchdown, which you can get at plus 500. He's got just one touchdown on the year. That came in week 4 when Jatavion Sanders was out. I mentioned it throughout the show. He's out again. I think they're going to have to throw the football in this game. Now, Rico Dowdle, there's a contracting incentive that he can score a touchdown. I was considering playing that. We'll get to that a little bit at the end when we go to the mailbag and talk about some of our emails. But I just think here they're going to force Bryce Young to throw the football. And Tremble's a tight end. Like, tight ends find their way in the end zone, especially in these bigger games on the road in a weird spot. I like him to find his way in the end zone. And again, it's good value, right? We lose a unit, we cash for 5 if he hits it. So just with the value and the routes that he's been running in the games where Sanders is out and what I'm expecting today, I would expect him on the field a lot more than Mitchell Evans. Give me Tommy Tremble, anytime touchdown plus 500. The other play for him, longest reception over 10.5 yards at minus 110. If he's going to go over the number, I expect him to. If he's going to get up into the 30s like I think that he could, it's going to be with at least one long reception. I mean, we saw him in the one game earlier this year catch a 40-yard pass or 54-yard pass in that matchup with Atlanta. That was a weird game, a lot more passing in that one. But Jason mentioned what he thinks about the over. We could see one of those shootouts, and that would be awesome for everybody's props if we got that. I know that, but most importantly, the tight ends, because usually when the passing offenses are going, somewhere in there, tight ends are involved. It ain't just the receivers. I don't know that Ted McMillan and Xavier Legette combined for 200 receiving yards. There will be tight ends flurried in there if it's one of those days. And then lastly, I told myself I was going to give this out just because I played it and I thought the value was good. RJ Barrett, 20-plus points, plus 235. I say lastly and kind of about it because he's on a minutes restriction. He's come back. He's played 2 games. He's under this in both, scored 17 in one and 14 in the other. But before the injury, he was going 20-plus regularly. I mean, he was getting there a bunch. And in games, he didn't go more than 2 straight games without going 20-plus or scoring 20-plus points. Scotty Barnes is not ball dominant scorer. Brandon Ingram's having some success. But against the Hawks, you could have 4 different guys score 20 points. We've seen multiple teams do it. RJ Barrett, one thing about him, he gets his shot in. He will not pass to anybody. He will shoot the basketball as much as we need. And we love shot chuckers when we take scoring props. So even in the minutes restriction, I'm comfortable playing RJ Barrett for 20-plus points because at plus 235, the value is just, it's too good to pass.
There's one NBA bet that I made. I'm not putting it down as one of my favorite bets in the show, but I am on the over in that game. So that's funny.
It should be a absolute shootout. The Hawks, I mean, and Trae Young might be back.
Yeah, and my Raptors are in decent form right now.
Yeah,
let's bring that bet home. Bring that futures home, Raptors, because my Blazers. I don't know if we're getting to 40 wins. We
got a good one against the Pelicans.
We might, yeah. A lot of people were on the Pelicans in that game, by the way. A lot of the computer models were on the Pels big there. Nobody knows. The computers don't know. No. It's funny. Like, I subscribe to 2, and I don't really go with them all the time, but it's amazing how different these computer models can be on the same game. It's amazing how one will point you, this is a 5-star, our favorite play, team X getting 5.5 points, and the other one will have the team laying 5.5 as its best. We have this team projected to win by 9.5. Computers don't know. Nobody knows. Overtime, Beltway, Ben. I'm going to make this short and sweet. Give me the Niners to win. Give me the Bucks to win. The two more experienced teams, the two teams with a playoff pedigree, the two teams with coaches who, whatever you may think of them, and like Shanahan in a Super Bowl or Todd Bowles, whenever, they've gotten to the playoffs with great regularity. I'm going to take these two teams to win. Oh yeah, they're also at home, right? Plus 275 on those two to win. I have no faith in Tampa. They haven't covered in a country mile. I'm aware of all the numbers, but Baker's a dog. I mean, can they prolong their season against a team that's been bad on the road and has no pedigree? Again, it's not my favorite play in the world, but I wanted to give you a football parlay, and this is one that I made. I think they're the better teams. I know that they're more accustomed to being in these situations, and they've got home field, so almost 3-1.
Yeah, we're gonna differ here just a little bit. I like the Seahawks. I've talked about it throughout the week. I've been pretty big on the Seahawks. I'm a big Mike McDonald guy. That plays into some of my handicapping, and it just kind of is what it is. I trust him a lot. Yeah. Now, I'm old enough to remember on Christmas Day, one of the better Christmases I've had, when I thought the Ravens were going to the Super Bowl. Mike McDonald went to San Francisco and bossed him around. And that was the first time we really saw Mike show some emotion on the sideline. And it was pretty clear.
Got benched.
But, oh, yeah. Purdy did get benched and then was trying to sub back in. And they're like, no, just wait over here. Darnold's got it. I just think Seattle in this spot should be able to get the job done. I trust their defense more than San Francisco. I think Robert Saleh is more of a yelling, let me go run the steps before the game guy and try to show off what I can do, versus Mike McDonald, who's quiet and just has beast. And he had a great defense in Baltimore. He's had a great defense in Seattle. He's a great defensive mind. And it's not off of this Ravens defensive idea. Like, no, Mike comes up with his own stuff. Mike is a very smart defensive coordinator, and it's traveled. And we saw it at Michigan. We saw it at Seattle. We saw it in Baltimore. I trust Mike a lot. I just like their defense a little bit more. Now, this is a pick'em game. There's money coming in on Seattle, which I don't always love because usually when those numbers move, whatever. But I just lean Seattle in this spot. And I thought to get it at plus money, throwing in JSN would be my best bet, because JSN, if they're going to win this game, has to have somewhat fingerprints on it. The game where somehow they beat the Rams, JSN has zero yards at halftime. You think he's cooked. Still results in scoring.
He covered.
Grabbing 100 plus. And some of that was overtime, but he had 70 plus way before overtime. And it was quick. Darnold getting it out to him. Do I think they handcuffed Darnold a little bit and try to keep him safe and not turn the ball over? Yeah, but JSN is one of the top wide receivers in the NFL. I think 60 plus should be no issue for him. Which is why I also go here. There's been a lot of talk all week. Who's going to stop him? Lenore was talking about it. I'm not buying anything they have on that defense. I saw Phillip Rivers do what he wanted. I've seen enough quarterbacks do what they want. Caleb Williams, who coming into the year, I did give him out for like a half or a quarter of a unit to win MVP. Caleb Williams looked amazing against them. He did exactly what he wanted. They're getting a little healthier, but it's not healthy enough to stop a guy in JSN that was getting 100 plus in like 10 straight weeks during the first half of the regular season. So I think it's going to be a healthy dose of him. I think it's going to have to be. And as I said, if they want to win this game, the best wide receiver or one of the best wide receivers in football has to have an impact on this matchup. Now, the last two plays, Bucky Irving, talked about him a lot. I think he gets back to 70 here today. Carolina's run defense is not good. They've allowed multiple running backs to go for 100 plus over the past few weeks. I didn't take Bucky there just because he hasn't done it this year, and that scared me a little bit. So instead, I bring him to 70, and we're also taking A.J. Barner receptions. I talked about it. Mike McDonald, who's the defensive guy, stood on the podium and talked about how much Kubiak loves Barner and how much he loves Barner. That means there's a lot of conversation. We got to get this guy involved. 3+ receptions is something he's gone over for the majority of the second half of the year. So 70 plus for Bucky, 3+ receptions, but you can get a plus 202. And then we're also just going to take Bucky for 70 plus by itself, plus 146. He's been over this multiple times this year. Dealt with some injuries. That's, of course, impacted how things have gone. Again, this is win and hope tomorrow. It's not even win or go home yet, but if they do lose, they are going home. I would expect a lot of Bucky. I just think it's going to be the most carries he's touched. Maybe when they get inside the 5, they're going to run Tucker out there like they usually do. They like going with the heavy back. I think we'll see at least 1 to 2 explosives from Bucky. We know the speed back he is. Last week on the sideline, he was throwing a tantrum, frustrated with the offensive line, and Wirfs had to kind of tell him to calm down. Wirfs is back. I think the offensive line will hold up good enough, and I would expect Bucky to run for 70-plus yards at plus 146.
Sometimes, Beltway Ben, you just have to say, what the buck? Yes. That dude will always be Booger to me, by the way. He'll always be Booger from Revenge of the Nerds. I bucking love it, Beltway Ben. I bucking love it.
I like that.
Almost a buck 50 to 1.
For him to get, 11 more yards? Yeah.
Bucket. What the buck? Could be on a Hall of Fame path. I know we throw that around too much. A couple other plays I just want to refresh you guys on. If you missed earlier in the week, I do like Mike Evans anytime touchdown, which we talked about earlier in the show. I like Smith and Jigba, reception 30 yards or more. I like Kittle to have a reception of over, it was at 21.5 when we played it. Check the markets, but I think he's good for at least one explosive. Beltway, Ben, do you want to put up our record? And do you want to read the email, the one about the incentives? Should we hit that one here real quick?
Yeah, I'll do that real quick before I put up the betting slip, because when we got the email, I immediately was like, yeah, I'm definitely going to bring that up, because it's been a constant in the sports betting community. It's been a constant conversation, and there's a lot of people who are trying to sell you guys these things. Oh, how to make $1,000 this week? You put $5 on every single player to hit their incentive. So from Jay Walter, he says, how do you guys feel about betting props of players that have contract incentives for week 18? I'll be completely honest with you. Do I delve into it a little bit? Absolutely. Will I take a guy down and play some juice and parlay that with a few things? Absolutely. One, I'm not giving out guys solely based on incentives. They have to have the good matchup. They have to be in a fine spot. But one thing I'll do. So, for example, Tony Pollard, his yardage is close, and they've been handing him the football a bunch. They have nothing to play for. He needs 6 yards, I think it was. I would take him for that. Diggs, I think he needs 8 receptions. I'm not taking 8 receptions. I would take Diggs 4 or 5, because they're going to try to get him the ball, but I'll parlay a few things together and try to get myself to plus money. I am not hammering something. The one time I did last year was Mike Evans for 1,000. The books are putting these numbers higher than what the incentive is. They're making you pay an outrageous price on it. So for me, yeah, it's 100% baked in. You mean to tell me their models aren't adding this stuff in? So we know about the incentive, but they don't. Listen, Vegas will take advantage of you however they can. You also will have FanDuel, DraftKings, all of these books posting on their social medias, hey, this guy needs this for an incentive. He's this close. Like, to me, they know what the numbers are. Again, I just do it my own way. I take numbers down. I move them around, as we always do. F the corporate lines. We play alt lines around here. And I'll parlay them together and have some fun. I don't usually delve into the markets a bunch. I think when people tell you parlay 10 different things to get $1,000 on this, one of those dudes is going to come up short. So I would just suggest being careful.
I've covered the league since 2004, and I remember the days where I would have to call my buddy Mark Levin at the NFLPA and be like, dude, could you run a quick study on me? And I wasn't doing it for the whole league, but which, our skins players have something to play for the final 3 weeks. And then you'd get it and you'd write a story about it because it wasn't everywhere and not everybody had there was no SPO track and all that crap. It's totally public. I think it's actually really lazy handicapping. And I'd say buyer beware, because if it's on every Action Network website, guess what? The books know too. So there you have it. Well done, Beltway Ben. Do you mind putting the score up? I sucked on Thursday. We basically split last night. We had a good December. We had a bad November. January is left to be determined, Beltway Ben. We will be back tomorrow at 11, our normal Sunday time. I say our normal Sunday time. It's our normal Sunday time for now. For the football season, at least. It will be obviously our last full slate of NFL games. I'm just going to give you a news flash. I've given you a lot of NFL plays that I'm already on. I'll be on the Sunday night game a bunch of different ways in tomorrow's show, but I'm not going to be on a whole lot of other NFL stuff. We've got Premiership, we got college hoops, we got NBA. That's a great time of year for sports.
There's a few more emails we got to get to, right? Isn't there?
Oh, okay, sure.
The lobster heist? I thought you wanted to... Are we getting that?
Let's go. You've got it in front of you. I don't.
Yeah, Ryan Oliver emailed us and said, "Want to bet accounts for the biggest daily lobster consumption, but looks like someone is trying to get on our level." And then wish us Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you, Ryan. And then the article here: $400,000 worth of lobster was stolen en route to Costco stores. Shipper says so. We're not the only people trying to get some lobsters out here. $400,000 worth. That is a heist. That is absolutely ice.
I love lobster, but I was sitting here trying to think as I read that story right before we came on air, and thank you for the email. I haven't like had a full-blown lobster, like, or even a lobster tail in a while. Like lobster and some pasta, probably within the last 6 months. I mean, I love it. I don't go out to eat that much anymore. You know what I mean? Like it's not like Lauren, hey, bring home some lobster when you're shopping. These sons of bitches though, I bit my freaking thumb. I bit my thumb.
I couldn't tell you. I think I've tried it before. I couldn't tell you that I've ever really eaten lobster.
Well, I think the next time we have next time we go like over 8 units, which could be today, I've got to bring some lobster into the.
Or we could reach out to the guy who had the lobster heist and see if he's got any left over.
And we got to film you eating some lobster. You don't have a shellfish allergy, I mean, right? No.
I don't have any allergies. I'm good. Yeah. Except for some bad food. I don't know if that's allergy or what, but I only get sick occasionally.
No, hey man, we'll get into some lobster. We'll do a live stream. We'll put that up. You and I smash. We got to do that. We got to go out to lobster, or bring lobster to the studio and then film it.
Sit down and eat and just talk sports.
And that would be great. You and I eating our own lobsters at the studio while everybody else at that radio station. You know what I mean? Like somebody has a spare French fry left over and people dive on it. They literally will come out of the woodwork. Salespeople you haven't seen in months will appear and dive on that half a sandwich. They will dive on that crumb, right? Could you imagine us sitting there just eating lobsters? Like, let them eat cake.
Yeah,
no, I would. These are Warnabet lobsters. They're not 105.7 The Fan lobsters. Right. These aren't WLIF lobsters. These aren't Odyssey lobsters. These are Warnabet lobsters that are being sublet to Odyssey for a while. Still waiting to hear back on that contract. Think year to year, not 3 years at a time. Think year to year. All right, let's get out of here. I can get myself in trouble. You want to bet, we want to bet. Thank you for betting with us. Tomorrow at 11, let's smash some lobsters.